Hello and welcome to 18 WJTS in.form. This is National Disabilities Awareness Month, and joining us in the studio is Mary James. She is with SIRS. And Mary, welcome to the show.
Well, thank you for having me.
This is National Disabilities Awareness Month, so
Correct.
we're going to try and clarify a few things.
Okay.
What is a disability?
Okay, a disability it can either be a physical disability or developmental disability. And those are both the areas that we provide services for too.
Okay, and oftentimes we are aware of people's physical disabilities because it's obvious to see that sometimes. But mental disabilities, not always.
Exactly. Yeah. It's in the autism spectrum. It's quite obvious. It's more the way you recognize it is more the socialization. They just lack those socialization skills.
What are you hoping happens with National Disability Awareness Month? What's the point?
The point is to celebrate the abilities of people with disability and also to bring awareness to the fact that there are people with disabilities out there.
How did the National Disabilities Awareness Month happen? What? I guess we had to have some legislation.
You did. Former President Ronald Reagan passed or declared it National Disabilities Awareness Month for March.
Okay.
And he did that in '87, and I know that because that's when I started working at SIRS, and I was two. I was two.
Okay, at the time, yeah, that's right. Well, this year's campaign is inclusion is within everyone's ability.
It is.
What does that mean?
It is. It basically means that the people need to include everyone, or not exclude.
Okay.
Anyone. The other thing that the other little saying that they have is, and I have to look, I lost it right there, is don't change a thing. So that's to me that describes it a little bit better in the fact that you are accepted. You don't have to change a thing. You are okay the way you are, and people will accept you the way you are. And it's okay. So to me, that describes the slogan, the original slogan, a little bit better, I think.
I think a lot of people are often intimidated or worried about how to act or include someone with a disability.
Yeah, because they're afraid they'll hurt their feelings, or they just don't know if they want to befriend somebody with a disability because somebody else might not like them because of that, especially in the schools. That's a younger age thing, not as an adult. But that's.
What are some suggestions you have for people to include folks with disabilities?
Okay. Well, first is, and I say, and I have to tell the original story. I started working with SIRS, or working with people with disabilities, because of my sister. My sister Debbie. Debbie was born with spinal bifida, and she was Debbie. She and everybody that I would interact with, they would say, "Oh, your sister is the one who has crutches," and I was like, "Well, no, Debbie is my sister who loves reading. Debbie is the grandmother of two, and has a daughter." So it's more of, I wanted people to see Debbie, the Debbie that I know and love. And that's the same thing that I do for every single one of our clients. I want them to see the Sally. I want them to see Jeff. I want them to see Bob, and not the fact that Bob might have Down syndrome, or Jeff might be autistic and can't look you in the eye.
And when you include them, it makes them feel so much better. And it doesn't take a whole lot.
It doesn't. Just seeing them and talking to them, and if in the conversation you come up with, and again, my sister Debbie is in a wheelchair. So if you come up and you ask her about that wheelchair, you're not going to offend her at all. She's not going to be offended by that.
Might be better to get it out of the way early and say, "Hey, you're in a wheelchair.
What happened?
What happened?"
Yeah,
and then
she'll
go on from there.
Yeah, she'll say, "No, I'm not a vet. I was born this way," and so forth. And or if they are a vet, then that's another good communication of what it's like to be a vet and so forth.
And many of us who don't have disabilities something can happen to us and we have a disability
Yep,
quickly.
you
So
are-
it's always,
yep.
I guess in a way, pay it forward. Be
Yeah,
aware that
exactly. Be
someday you may be in
respectful.
the same situation.
Exactly. Be respectful. And there are people with disabilities in every aspect of life. Actually, there's 54 million, let me check my number.
Okay.
Yeah, 54 million Americans with disabilities. So chances are you have a neighbor who has a disability, you have a coworker who has a disability. So if it's just showing respect for people.
Now, SIRS is one of many different organizations that work to help people with disabilities, and everybody takes a little different role in helping folks with disabilities.
Correct.
And we don't want to say disabled people, right? We want to say people with disabilities.
Exactly. That's
Okay.
one of the ways that you can do is just adjusting that little bit of communication. And that is a person with a disability, or Debbie is a person who uses a wheelchair.
Now, let's talk about what SIRS offers. Who are your clientele?
Our clientele are either a person who has a physical disability or a person who has a developmental disability. And we start from the 0 to 3 with our therapy services. And then we go on to, as a child goes on into the school system from there. And because another piece of legislation that was passed, the school system covers everything that they could possibly need and accommodates that child with a disability. And then as they're growing up and getting ready to graduate, then they start having the same thoughts and questions that you and I did whenever we grew up and deciding what we want to do in a career. And so then they come back in and start working with SIRS. And we would help them with finding a job and creating a good relationship with the employer and seeing if there's any accommodations that need to be made. And saying accommodations, don't be afraid. That is one of the big things for an employer. They go, oh, this is going to cost me thousands of dollars. And it doesn't. It doesn't. And a lot of times it's just something as simple as an elevated desk or even a lower chair. You know, it's not expensive to make those accommodations.
And SIRS exists to help us with that.
Exactly. We will gladly come in and help the employers figure out any accommodations that they might need.
I guess in a way you work for two people.
Yep.
You work for folks who are people with disabilities who need a place to learn skills and to develop skills. And then you also help employers who want to help folks with disabilities.
Exactly, yeah. And employ people with disabilities, yeah.
So somebody should just contact you and say, you know what, we're looking for some part-time help. Do you have somebody who can do that sort of work?
Absolutely. You can call our Jasper office, and I'm sure you'll have that on the screen somewhere, and that's 634-2617. I have to write that down. It's in my phone.
Right. And it's 812.
Yes.
634.
2617.
Okay. And also you have a website?
Yes, www.sirs.org. And in our website, you'll be able to go to the links page, and that has all of the links and resources that you could possibly need for, like the Governor's Planning Council, even voting. This is a big topic right now, is that, you know, if there's any accommodations that need to be made at your voting site for you, you can go to that link too.
Okay. And one final thing.
Okay.
SIRS has been around forever, so long that I remember when
Yes.
I was a child that SIRS existed.
Yes.
What does SIRS stand for? SIRS.
SIR stands for Southern Indiana Resource Solutions.
Okay, remember they have a website you can go and get more information. Mary,
Yeah.
thank you for coming in.
All right, thank you very much.
This is Disabilities Awareness Month. Make sure that you become more aware of folks with disabilities, or if you have a disability, talk to SIRS. They might be able to help you in some way.
We will gladly help.
All right, thank you for watching WJTS Inform. We're local people watching local people.